Ghana goes to the UN and asks for reparations.
President Mahama coming to the United Nations trying to speak on the behalf of Black Americans, indigenous American Indians in the United States of America.
The claim of the Ghana president here in the U.S. for reparations is inept and false.
And we do not want other nations getting credit for stuff that we immediately went through.
Have y'all lost your entire minds? You are not finna co-op anything that Black people in America, descendants of slavery, descendants of chattel slavery, have gone through.
Stop using Black Americans' heritage and legacy to garner sympathy, attention, and resources on behalf of your country.
Foundational Black Americans said they want to delineate so they can get their reparations.
As a Black American, no, Africa cannot get reparations for Black Americans.
So where's the reparations going? To the descendants, right? Somebody tell me in the comments.
Recently, in New York, there was a meeting that was held by United Nations. In this meeting, it was announced that transatlantic slave trade was the gravest crime against humanity. And then the same meeting, the president of Ghana, Mahama, asked for reparations due to the crimes that were done during transatlantic slave trade. This got many Black Americans angry, asking themselves, why would an African president ask for reparations that are supposed to be given to Black Americans because they are the ones who were affected by transatlantic slave trade? I want us to hear from these Black Americans, and then we come back at the end with more insightful commentaries. Stay tuned. As you're watching, I want you to tell me what you think about what these Black Americans are saying, and remember to like this video.
This is a resolution seeking to declare the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity.
This is so disrespectful.
For more than 300 years, Africans were treated as property, were tortured, humiliated, and forced out of the continent, over 12.5 million of them, in the most dehumanizing and despicable circumstances. The world is yet to acknowledge this. Perpetrators are yet to apologize and have not compensated the victims. This is a time to demand reparative justice, and this is the time to demand restitution.
This is utterly disgraceful. It's disrespectful. The fact that the Ghanaian president is going to the African Union and going to the United Nations to demand restitution and reparations on behalf of Black Americans for what our ancestors experienced during chattel slavery, more so than transatlantic slavery, because 12 million were not trafficked from the west coast of Africa to the mainland, the United States of America. Less than 4% of those people actually came to the United States of America. And the fact that those people are only trying to speak on behalf of Black Americans speaks volumes. What about the majority that went to the Caribbean? Why aren't you trying to demand restitution or reparations from the Caribbeans, from Latin and Central America? Come on, people, we have to wake up. This is not about giving a damn about what our people endured. Let me show y'all something.
You gonna ask for reparations when you the one who sold slaves? The last time I checked, West Africa participated in selling slaves to the Europeans. The Atlantic slave trade was exactly what it sounded like, a trade. So that means you can't get your money back. How you gonna leapfrog over the people who actually suffered through chattel slavery, Jim Crow, Reconstruction, redlining, segregation? You was out there chasing hyenas. And on top of that, if Ghana's asking for reparations from slaves lost from Africa, how are they going to identify the people that actually came from Africa? The last time I checked, Black Americans are a mixed group of people. Most of us have indigenous roots tied to America. So what you trying to do, get paid off of a mixed group of people, or people who may or may not have relations to you? May y'all check this shit out.
This resolution seems to believe it is them. The United States strongly objects to the cynical usage of historical wrongs as a leverage point in an attempt to reallocate modern resources to people and nations who are distantly related to the historical victims.
Anyways, y'all boys, y'all know what it is. Stay up top, man.
None of those African countries has done anything for Black Americans. For 400 years, they've watched Black Americans be tortured here in the United States, including Ghana. So if any reparations were paid, I'm thinking it's going to go to Ghana. And I don't have a whole bunch of faith that Ghana is then going to do right by Black Americans when they haven't done so in all of these years. And let me just add on to that, because there was a commenter who also stated something very poignant. The commenter said that this resolution is in regards to the transatlantic slave trade. That is an atrocity. Chattel slavery here in the United States, totally different atrocity. Are they connected? Absolutely. But the resolution is in regards to the transatlantic slave trade, not specifically mentioning chattel slavery here in the United States.
Let's talk about tethered Ghanaian President Mahama coming to the United Nations trying to speak on the behalf of Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians in the United States of America, trying to steal our reparations. Now listen, short and sweet, he failed, and I'm going to tell you why he failed, okay? Listen, it's not going to work out the way they believe it's going to work out. All that happened was the world recognized the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. Okay. Now, what they're not telling you is that reparations is by lineage. Recently in the past, this whole return to Africa thing, and a lot of people around the world who are supposedly African descent was going to Africa and getting citizenship based off an ethnicity DNA test. There are a lot of loopholes that's going on in Africa, a lot of criminal activity. First of all, an ethnicity DNA test is not an official way to prove your lineage. You only do that with a kinship test in genealogy. Any biologist, scientist will tell you that, okay? So anyhow, they're trying to get people to go to Africa and get citizenship based on an ethnicity DNA test. That's wow, that's unlawful. That could never happen in the United States of America. Reparations is claimed by lineage. You have to prove you specifically endured slavery, your ancestors, right? And there's different forms of reparations. But if you're talking about the transatlantic slave trade, you can't prove it by an ethnicity DNA test. I'm sorry, because that's fake. You have to prove it by lineage. Now, this president, this tethered president, must think that Black Americans are dumb. A lot of the powers that be believes that Black Americans are dumb. We did not give you consent to talk on our behalf. You think we don't know how reparations work? By the way, I'm Ken Ottaway, the fifth great grandson of Nat Turner, one of the greatest American freedom fighters of all time. On my channel, we talk about journalism, psychology, communication, media, and public relations. Oftentimes, through these channels, through these mediums, our narratives are being changed, but we're correcting the action. These are also my areas of expertise that I went to college for. Now, my mother in the past have done many things when it comes to reparations. So I'm not going to allow these Africans and these tethers and these people around the world who are not Black American, American Indian. I'm not going to allow any Black Americans or the African Americans in power to play this game like we don't know how reparations work. You have to prove your lineage. Africans sold Africans into slavery. So the very thing that this Ghanaian tethered president is crying about, he should be addressing the other African leaders that sold other Africans into slavery. Africa was never united. That's why you sold people that look like you into slavery, for those of you who say that you're African descent. And not all Black Americans came from Africa. So that's another thing that's going to be a huge issue speaking on our behalf, and it's not going to work. You understand what I'm saying? Now I want you to take a look. Take a look at this right here, and I'm going to break down what's going on, what has happened, and what is not happening. And later on in another video, we're going to further discuss reparations, what it is and what it is not, who is entitled and who is not entitled, who can speak for Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians, and who cannot speak for Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians. And I thank you. Take a look at this. Okay, let's talk about Ghana's president, Mahama. Tether president failed. Symbolism only. United Nations shenanigans will not work out in their favor. No money approved. No reparations payments created. No legal obligation on any country. No specific beneficiaries defined. Symbolic recognition pushed forward. Global conversation elevated. Political pressure campaign expanded. Coalition building for future negotiations. That's it. That's all.
The claim of the Ghana president here in the U.S. for reparations is inept and false. Ghana gained its independence from British colonial powers on March 6, 1957. They cannot at all confirm that anybody of the small remnant of slaves that were brought from Africa to America belonged to their people. They are doing this because these are greedy, hungry siphoners who want to take from the Black American community, and they think we're going to sit by idly and allow it to happen. Absolutely not. There is no plausible way for any African country to assert that our people came from them, because they were separated by tribalism before colonialism. So they don't know whose tribe these people came from. And these individuals are well aware of it, and they believe themselves that we can't receive anything without their help. We don't want your help, and we didn't ask for it. Stop playing yourself.
The thing is, as an American man, I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of the people that were put in bondage here on this land were from North America. I'm not saying that the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen. I'm not saying that there weren't certain Africans that came over here. The Africans that came over here got absorbed by the people that were already here, and that's how that goes, point blank, period. And we do not want other nations getting credit for stuff that we immediately went through. Now you want to talk about the Africans that came from the continent. Those were rival tribes that you guys put in bondage and sold off to the white man. That's the story, that's the history. So why do you get reparations for that? We don't want to hear that. This goes back to you guys co-opting and hijacking our legacy to garner money. There's plenty of atrocities that happened in Africa that you can, advocate for and go to the UN and ask for reparations for. Why does everything have to be connected to us? Why do you guys always have to use us as a crutch or a tool to get money and get funding? Stop using Black Americans' heritage and legacy to garner sympathy, attention, and resources on behalf of your country. African heritage is different than ethnic Black American heritage in the United States. They are two completely different things. And it needs to be known and it needs to be respected. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. No one's saying that you can't do business with Africans. No one's saying that you can't be friends with Africans. But you need to allow people to have their cultural autonomy. I don't know what to tell y'all, bro.
Bro, please go and relax. You says you are not from Africa. Your ancestors are not from Africa. You are FBA. You are a native, you claim. You guys have nothing to do with Africa. I'm not talking about Black Americans whose ancestors are from Africa, but I'm talking about you who is talking. You claim that you are a native, so the Ghanaian president is representing Black people, but not Black people like you because you are a native. He's not talking about you. He's talking about Black Americans, those whose ancestors are from Africa. He is talking about those people. He is also talking about the Caribbeans, Black people there, whose ancestors are from Africa, and the people on the continent. He is representing us, not you. You, the FBS, you claim that you have nothing to do with Africa. You want to have nothing to do with Africa. So why are you just bothering yourself, in fact? Just relax. The Ghanaian president is not talking about you. He is talking about us. You can just go to the United Nations and do your own thing so that you can also get what? Something from them, perhaps. I think that is what you want. Since you FBS, you claim that you have nothing to do with the Black people. That is okay. So the Ghanaian president is representing us and the Black people who are in America, but those whose ancestors are from the continent in Africa. Not you, by the way. Just relax and chill. That's it.
Foundational Black Americans, they want to have their reparations. And what does Ghana do? Ghana goes to the United Nations and asks for reparations. Africa, why? Africa, why? Did you ask for their opinion? Did you ask for their opinion? What is this, bro? Foundational Black Americans said they want to delineate so they can get their reparations. And what does Ghana do? Ghana goes to the UN and asks for reparations. And you wonder why these people don't like you. And you wonder what, you know what? Did you ask anyone's opinion? Like the Black people in the Caribbean, did you ask them? The ones in Haiti, Jamaica, did you ask them? How about the ones in Britain? Did you ask them? Did anyone consent to this? Now, because this is why Black Americans keep getting upset with Africans.
Is Ghana trying to say that they're going to take our reparations? Because I really hope that's not what they think that they're going to try to do, because Black America is not on that. I do think it's so funny how y'all claim us as one of y'all when it's time to vote for reparations and take reparations. So where's the reparations going? To the descendants, right? Somebody tell me in the comments.
So basically, they found out that African Americans have 1.7 trillion in spending power, right? That means collectively, we got the bag. Collectively, we got the bag. That of which we already knew. We didn't have to shout it from the rooftops, and we damn sure didn't need anybody else clocking our bag. And now it's at the point where the African Union is working with America and top American officials to both colonize the African American culture, but also to receive reparations. Did you know that they have now, the African Union have now been in talks with America about us, African, saying you have to be to think that you are entitled to some money that does not historically belong to you, knowing good and goddamn well it had nothing to do with you. You may have been impacted by the slave trade, but the reparations that this country owes us is not because of the actual slave trade where it started. It is because of what has been done to us as we were here in this country. You got your hand out looking for something, constantly wanting to be the center of attention, constantly wanting to be the how do I put it? The one that everybody wants to be around. The one that everybody wants to be a part of. The one that everybody wants to pour money into or steal from. Golly, it is fucking exhausting being an African American. It really be your own people. Because when I tell you the hate comes from every single angle of the diaspora, and then to then turn around and think that you have the opportunity to eat off of our reparations is insane. I don't give a damn what money America gives to y'all. That shit ain't ours. That don't have African Americans' name on it. When we separated, we had to build our own cultures. We had to take some of our, our historical culture that was passed down to us back when our ancestors was in Africa. We had to make something new of it. It's just the audacity to me, because I vividly remember the majority of my life being told by people from across seas and being on the internet and hearing people consistently try to undermine, undervalue, and to consistently try to tear down Black African Americans and what we contribute to this world, but then got your hand out looking for our reparations. That's insane. Are you not embarrassed? You should be embarrassed. That is insane to me. Also, bitch, we are not your motherfucking property. Have you lost your motherfucking mind? You know what? You gonna end up finding out. African Union gonna end up fucking around and finding out the way that these white folks gotta find out every other day. We are not your property.
As a Black American, no, Africa cannot get reparations for Black Americans. This is all a money grab and a fucking scam and a scheme. This is the shit that Black Americans are talking about. They keep trying to use Black Americans as their leverage against America. First of all, if you sold them motherfuckers, why are you getting paid? Wouldn't we give it to the people over there? And I keep telling Black Americans, y'all better start getting active, because to them and to the world, y'all are dumb. Y'all don't know nothing. They think y'all silly. They think y'all dumb. And they think y'all the easy opportunity for money. And my thing is, why are they treating us like we some sort of cattle? Like we're not human beings. They out here consulting the American government for money, talking about reparations for Blacks. I'm letting you know this now. That is all a scam for them to get money and build their countries and build their continents, and all these other countries and continents are working with them. I told y'all, the day that America gives Black Americans something, or them reparations or whatever they may give them, right? Or I'm telling you, it's going to be a motherfucker, because people are not happy. A lot of people want control over the Black American dollar because that's what's moving everything. Everything that you see on the internet is Black American cultural. Not only that, even down to the hair and beauty industry and wigs and all of that. Black American women have started that. We have generated a multi-billion-dollar, multi-trillion-dollar industry. That's why all these big companies keep trying to buy out the Black Americans. That's why everybody is fighting and bidding on us. And they're mad because the Trump administration said America is not a American Express card for the world. You're not going to think you're going to keep on trying to act like we owe you something. And they told that to numerous of countries, especially those African countries. I don't know why we have a man from Ghana trying to speak for Black Americans. I'm not from Ghana. First of all, my grandparents, they've been here. This is their land, first of all, if you want to be technical. Secondly, first of all, even for the Black Americans who say they came on a damn ship, ain't no Africans to be speaking for them. First of all, ain't you sold them? They humans. They can make decisions for themselves. This is all a scam. If y'all sit up there and allow these people to get up here and think that they go speak for y'all, they go scam y'all. And I'm going to be honest, I honestly think that this is all because of the blue party that has been organizing this shit. I even seen a video of an African man saying how Obama was really for them. He was never for Black Americans. And it appeared to be obvious to me.
Honestly, I really understand why a lot of Black Americans feels angry when this topic comes up. And to really get it, you have to go back to the history. Because without the context, none of this makes sense. During transatlantic slave trade, many Europeans crossed the Atlantic to Africa looking for labor to work in their plantations in the Americas. Here, when I say the Americas, I'm talking about North America and some islands in the Americas. Now, when they arrived, they didn't start grabbing people immediately. There were also systems of trade involved. Some European traders made agreements with some African leaders, exchanging goods like textiles, metal items, and other commodities for captives. And yes, we have to be honest. Some African leaders participated in that system. But it is also very important to understand that this was not the full picture. There were many Africans who resisted. Communities were attacked and destabilized. Many African families were torn apart. This wasn't some eco trade, it was a system built on violence, power imbalance, and exploitation that lasted for centuries. Millions of Africans were taken across the Atlantic, most the Caribbean and South America. And smaller percentage, about 4 to 10%, were taken to what is now known as the United States of America. And once they arrived there, life didn't become work, it became brutal. Forced labor under slavery, no rights, no freedom, generations born into bondage. And even after slavery officially ended, suffering didn't stop. You had Jim Crow laws enforcing segregation, redlining, blocking Black families from building wealth. You had systemic racism embedded in education, housing, employment, and the justice system. So when people talk about the effects of slavery, they're not only talking about the past, they're talking about something that shaped generations, even up to today. Now, this is where the conversation about reparations comes in. Reparations are not just about money. They are about justice. They include financial compensation, yes, but also official apologies, policy changes, investment in communities, acknowledging of the harm. The goal is to repair as much as possible the damage that were caused by centuries of exploitation and inequalities. And this is exactly why many Black Americans feel strongly about it. Reparations are meant to be given to the descendants of those who were enslaved in America, people whose families directly endured slavery, and long-term economic and social consequences of those systems. So when they see others, especially people who are not a part of that historical experience, entering conversation of reparation or being included in the discussions about reparations, it raises concerns for them. You have to understand, this is not just about identity. It is about lineage, history, and justice tied to a very specific experience in America. And it is also very important to keep this conversation grounded in facts and clarity. Not every African country or every African person directly benefited from slavery, just like not every African community participated in it. And this is the misconception that many Black Americans have. But the core issue here is who was directly impacted in the American context, who reparations are intended to address. I want to read for you the definition of reparations from Google. Reparations are measures including financial compensations, apologies, policy reforms, human rights violations, and systemic harm inflicted on individuals or groups. They aim to provide justice, rehabilitation, and restitution to victims or their descendants, rather than merely offering a simple payment. Which means that in this context, people who deserve reparations are not Africans, not African countries, but the descendants of those people who were enslaved in America, black Americans. Now that's why many of these black Americans are pissed after hearing this president from Ghana asking for reparations from the United Nations. No, Africa deserves no reparations. Black Americans deserve reparations. In fact, I would even say that African countries should pay reparations to black Americans because some of their leaders participated in selling their people to those white people. As I said, some African leaders, not all African leaders, were receiving benefits from slavery. They were being given textiles, mirrors, and other goods in exchange of captives. That is insane. Do you think that these black Americans are going too far? Or what they are saying are making sense? Your opinions are needed down there in the comment section. And that was it for today. Mr. TA signing off. Ciao.